so excited to be joined by Miah Pullen today on the podcast. Welcome, Miah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited to have you on the show and meet you on Zoom as well. So can you tell me, a little bit about you and where you are and a little bit about your business and I guess how you started working with dance studio owners or how you even got your business kind of going online?
Yeah, so I'm live in San Angelo, Texas, in the United States. I have my brick and mortar company, which is my local studio, Prep Academy Dance Studio, and we've been open for 3 years. And then we opened our online dance studio for kids in February this year, 2021. So this is brand new. The idea of it is that it's, an online dance studio. You have courses. The idea came from since you're a business coach, you'll probably understand this and your listeners will too, is, having an online course you can take and learn something and take skills from that. So very similar concept, just applied to dance and to dance classes. So that's my new business where studio owners can recommend students and earn a commission based off of that if they don't have their own online dance program. Then it's just easy for them to be able to recommend students or kind of embed our program into their existing program and not have to worry about the online side of things, since usually we don't have a lot of online students in a physical studio. So yeah, that's the owners play into it.
Amazing. And so I really like what you said about how you took a model that was outside of what the standard dance studio model would be, and you tweaked it and set it up so it works now for your new business, your online business. So I know it probably came out of necessity at the time, but do you have intentions of continuing and growing this online side of the studio and maybe branching out more into as a resource for studio owners?
Yes, I really do want to. I want to continue expanding. We're going to keep uploading new dance courses each month is our plan, at least for a while, until we get a good buildup of courses. Right now we only have 9 courses, but we're going to start releasing a new course each month, so grow that way. And then of course, growing to accommodate studio owners and help studio owners in kind of whatever direction it takes us. I'm really open to ideas right now, and I want the studio owners to kind of tell us what they need and be able to grow off of that platform too.
Amazing. So with that in mind, I know you have your brick and mortar dance studio. Are you doing in-person classes at the moment, or are you still all virtual?
Yes, we are doing in person. Luckily in Texas, we have been very lucky to not have to shut down that much. So we've been doing in person since May of 2020. So last May we've been able, I know, very lucky. It just smaller class sizes. So we're able to still. The digital platform we did open on a smaller basis to our parents over the summer because some were just not comfortable coming in the studio yet, even though they were allowed to. So we've launched this on a smaller basis to our students, and now it's just on a more worldwide web version of it. So
yeah, amazing. That's really cool. And like you said, there's so many, depending on different situations, there's so many people who are still not allowed in-person classes, and probably different to you, but I've been open since July last year, and we again had number restrictions, but in Australia, where I live, there's not really cases of COVID anymore, and there hasn't been community transmission for I'm not sure how long. So it just really depends, I guess, on your state or your country.
exactly.
But in saying that, I really have seen a shift to people then and parents being open to the concept of online classes, where before I just don't think that it was something that they would have considered. Is that something that you've come across as well?
Oh yeah, I think 100%. I don't know if it was you I was talking to about this via email or someone else, but I don't think online dance is going anywhere. I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's going to continue to grow. It may be a small group of people and a niche thing that online dance appeals to certain people, but yeah, I think it's a concept that was not even thought of before. Like a lot of things we've had to innovate in the studio industry and in other industries as well too during COVID, just not even a thought. And now it's a whole business. So
Yeah, amazing. So with that in mind, you've kind of given us a bit of an idea of what your brick and mortar business was like and how you've gone and set up about now your online business as well. So can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and I guess what a regular day looks like for you at the moment, juggling two different businesses? I guess they're very different in your clientele and what you have to do in preparation. So a little bit what your day-to-day looks like at the moment.
yeah, for sure. Sorry, I kind of skipped over that part of it.
Yeah.
So right now I run the brick and mortar business, right? The studio here in San Angelo. We have about 300 students at our local studio. I have 11 staff. I just hired a studio manager though, so I'm able to give some stuff to her, which has been really awesome. So kind of delegating, which is hard for us studio owners / control freaks, at least me. And then I also am running the Dance With Me, the online dance studio, completely different. I also am a college instructor, so I teach government, totally different, totally different realm and world, but I teach government for community college. That's what my degrees are in. So yeah, day to day is I teach and then go home at 2 p.m. and work on these businesses and try to get them up and running and successful. The online dance studio obviously is a lot harder to kind of launch than a brick and mortar business because you have the whole world to advertise to, not just a city. So definitely trying to figure out that marketing and looking at programs for that and how to best help those studio owners and just let them know about my program that can help them, because that's my main goal, is to be able to help people.
Yeah, amazing. And like you said, there's definitely a lot of power, and I talk about it in other episodes and a lot in like niching down. And a part of niching down generally means we're only advertising to our city or our region. But when you have such a broader market, you have to look at the niche in a different way to really
Yes.
target like working parents or people still in lockdown or people who, maybe don't have access to a dance class in a rural area. So it's a different niche altogether, and just trying to figure out, I guess, how to do advertising and stuff, which is a different kind of challenge, but still pretty exciting. So again, I know we've touched on this briefly, but I'm really intrigued about the concept of pivoting during COVID times or pivoting during a time of, maybe loss of business, or pivoting during a time where something's not working. Was that kind of what triggered you to really start this online business, or was this something that was or always in the back of your head and it was just the right timing?
No, it was definitely a pivot move at first, at least. Definitely oh my gosh, how are we going to continue our dance classes to our current paying customers so we're not losing that income? Just kind of like a survival tactic. So yeah, definitely a pivot move at first for me. And then we went straight to pre-recorded videos and publishing these on YouTube as unlisted. So we just send the links to the parents so they could practice at any time. Because the thing, parents were having to work from home and homeschool, and like doing a live class at a certain time, even though they had been doing that class at a certain time, was no longer, they weren't able to do that anymore. If they were, it was really stressful. So we pivoted to that pre-recorded videos, uploading them. And that way they had access to those videos all week to practice as well too. So kind of like an entertainment aspect for the parents who had these kids at home. And then from there, we realized the pre-recorded videos worked. And that's when I started thinking, okay, cool, this could be something more than just a pivot. It could be for kids that are chronically ill. So my sister has rheumatoid arthritis. She was diagnosed when she was 2, and she's 18 now. But like a pandemic like this, she still would not be allowed out. Like she's still not able to go to classes in person for college. So something like this could have really kept her dancing and still learning, because that's the cool thing about the online course process is it's a course. You're still learning, you're still progressing your skills just like you would in class. It's not just a dance party type thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touched on it briefly then, looking at the difference between, obviously there's so many benefits to in-person classes in the studio, excuse me.
Yeah, it's okay.
But what differences do you see or benefits do you see for online dance education, maybe other than the fact that again it's more accessible, particularly in something like a pandemic, like you said, people who are chronically ill or have immune deficiencies and things who can't go out can access it. Is there any other benefits that you've seen that maybe have surprised you?
Yeah, I think for sure, kids with like anxiety disorders. So kind of going to the medical side of things. So both my parents are in the medical field, so that's kind of where my brain goes sometimes. But anxiety disorders, kids with special needs or their parents may not feel comfortable bringing them to a studio with other students. So having the outlet for them, like you said, exactly. So I live in San Angelo, Texas, where we have a ton of tiny surrounding towns around us that have nothing extracurricular, where it could be really hard for them to drive 40 miles into town each day. People have a dance class. So yeah, definitely that aspect of it too. And just benefits almost as an extra education or continuing education. So maybe you're doing an in-person dance class, but you're doing this on the side to enhance your skills, or for parents to entertain their kiddos at home. We've pivoted to working at home. Like some businesses, they're just permanently doing that now. So making that shift in childcare and extracurricular is going to happen too, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, even though it might not be the only option, like I still think there's always going to be a place for brick and mortar. But I think that people have experienced the flexibility and the not having to be in the car as much and the time it saves between things. And it is more convenient.
For sure. Yeah, definitely more convenient and can be useful for certain groups of people. And I'm excited to see where that grows and things that I have not thought of yet that will be brought to my attention, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really awesome. So talking more about now your online program and how, you started it for your parents, and now you're pivoting to look at it for other studio owners. Like you said, you have the commission. How do you see at the moment that your service benefits other studio owners or potentially can benefit them in the future?
Yeah, so our program is open to dancers to register independently, so they don't have to be a part of a studio. Because the main idea of this, at least for me originally, was not to open it up to studio owners, just kind of be open in general. But the studio owner aspect came along because I've heard of a similar program with a different, what's the word, like extracurricular, totally different. Yeah. But they had kind of a similar program where you refer people and get a commission. So I thought that this might help studio owners because it is expensive to set up an online dance studio, at least in a professional sense, where it looks good and it sounds good and you're like proud of the product you're putting out. So it's expensive, so it can help studio owners save money. If they have these online courses they can offer their students, like I said, they can almost embed it into their website and just kind of send students to our site where they register. And then we take care of everything. So we get the student signed up, we send them emails, we tell them how to, access their course. So the studio owner is really making commission off of just referring students that think might be a good fit. So trying to make it easy, just literally make online dance easy for studio owners and still make it an option for them when COVID's gone.
Yeah, amazing. And I guess I only have a couple more questions for you, but you mentioned before about how you're juggling, being a college teacher and that you've got your brick and mortar business with like a large size studio. You've got now this new business. So I'm sure there's probably some people listening going like, oh my gosh, how does she manage it? How does she spend time on each business? Or like, they might even have an idea that they've been in the back of their head for ages, but they just haven't taken the leap. Do you have any recommendations or, inspiration, I guess, for why people should start it, or if you what just like a little tip or trick about that, managing all the different ideas and jobs that you have.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's an awesome question. Thanks. So definitely you have to get over the fear of like failure. That's such a hard thing. And I know people know that for the most part, but we don't try things because we're scared that it won't work or we're gonna lose money or whatever your reasoning might be. But definitely just going for something and doing it to the best of your ability, even if that's not monetary. So you can, start your business at a smaller scale, whether that be in the dance industry or something else, and then grow on that idea and kind of grow your markets. Right now with the Dance With Me, personally, I think that's something that I could have kind of done in the beginning or could still do is I need to kind of step back and look at the smaller market first. And then grow monetarily on that smaller market and then kind of add your markets from there. So I think if you're wanting to start something new, just start small, give it your all in that small area. And then as you grow and make money off of that, you can add markets and add value.
Yeah, amazing. I would agree as well. I think and I've struggled with myself in the past too. It's the fear of failing, but also sometimes it's like, oh, but if it goes really well, I'm just going to be like too busy. And it's like, well, yes, we can deal with that when we get to it. But in the meantime, I think it's really awesome. And, not that I never encourage people to have like, 4 things going on at once. You don't have to do that. But if you have a passion for something as well, it's
Yes.
really exciting to see that you can manage it. And I know everyone's personal circumstances are different as well, but like you said, you can start small. You don't have to invest a lot of money to get started, and then really see how you go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know you talked about this in your podcast too, but just social media is an amazing tool to get your word out there, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on it either. It can be free or $5 a day, and that can help build those markets in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. So to finish up, I always like to ask this question because I just love hearing what other people are loving at the moment. So what are 3 of your favorite tools or apps that you're using at the moment or using all the time that you would really encourage other people to check out?
Yeah. So right now I'm using kind of revamping how I do my post. And this is actually a lot from, I don't know if you've heard Confetti on the Dance Floor.
Yeah.
But yes, I love Confetti on the Dance Floor. They're amazing. And I did one of their webinars and have of course listened to some of their podcasts too. And they do their social media posts with Pick Stitch and Word Swag, which I knew of those apps, but when they explain it and how to make your post, Word Swag, Pick Stitch, getting the paid versions for those, super easy and cheap. So those are definitely my top apps. And then I guess right now, what this is like something obvious but good that I've been using recently is really diving into my G Suite, the Google Suite
Mm.
that if you're paying for that, or even if you're not paying for it, Google has a lot of awesome features to help you stay organized. For example, I just, like I said, hired a studio manager part-time, and it has a task board where you can add tasks to someone in a to-do list, and it shows up on their Google Calendar, and it also shows up on my Google Calendar, so we can co-work together. So it's really a good feature of Google that I didn't even know existed until 2 days ago. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Amazing.
yes,
I think that all of the like tools within the Google Suite are just incredible. So
yeah,
that sounds really awesome. And the other apps that you mentioned, Pick Stitch and is it Word Swag?
yes. I think it's Pick Collage. I think I said it
Oh,
wrong. It's
okay.
Collage Swag. Yeah, and their paid versions are like $4 a month, and you just can make super cute posts, and they're fun. They're more genuine than Canva, I feel like, and especially as a studio owner attracting parents. I
Hmm.
feel like that's genuine.
Amazing. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like I love Canva and I'm sure everyone's heard of it, but I think I
Um,
know what you're trying to say in that it's a bit maybe more kid targeted or a little less, not less polished, that's the wrong word, but a little bit more authentic, like you were
yeah,
saying.
exactly. It is. They have like cute little fun backgrounds and stickers you can add, and you can still make it really professional by
Mm.
attracting customers, in my opinion. So
Amazing. So, Maya, I just want to thank you again so much for joining me today. It was really awesome to hear about how you've pivoted to an online market from your brick and mortar business and how you are serving currently dancers and dance studio owners around the world. And I can't wait to see how it continues to grow. So, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to seeing where this goes and seeing where your business goes as well, too.